Welcome back to the Shine Within podcast. Marci Hopkins is an award-winning TV host, creator, and executive producer of the nationally syndicated talk show Wake Up with Marci. She is also the author of the Amazon bestseller Chaos to Clarity: Seeing the Signs and Breaking the Cycles, where she shares her inspiring recovery journey from addiction and trauma to living a joy-filled life. Marci's work empowers others to heal past wounds, break harmful patterns, and find clarity in recovery. A dynamic speaker and advocate for sobriety and mental wellness, Marci is dedicated to helping others transform their lives and live beyond their wildest dreams.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes,
Amen.
yes. Amen to that. I love that. And thank you so much for all the work that you do, your show, your book, just being a voice for those who are struggling with addiction. And it could be anything that they're
Yeah,
struggling with.
anything. Yeah.
Anything. And I just want to say thank you for being you.
Oh, thank you so much. That means so much. And I really, truly appreciate you having me on your podcast. It means a lot. And I think the more that we talk about this, the more that we share our stories, the more we normalize this conversation, and the more we help others to know they're not alone and there's so much help.
Right. Absolutely. Well, sobriety is a central part of your journey. Can you could just go ahead and share what actually first led you to seek sobriety and how you found the strength to stay on that path?
Mm. Well, it was not a straight path to recovery or even the decision to get sober. When you're struggling with alcohol, there's a whole timeline of, questioning yourself. Am I drinking too much? Is my drinking normal? You a lot of times are trying to figure out other ways to maybe be a normal drinker. And you also begin to take notice that maybe there's areas of your life that are struggling, like your relationships or your work or how you are just managing life in general. And when you start to notice that your answer is always the same thing, and that's whatever your addiction is, you realize that you need to really start taking a serious path to deciding, like, to create the change for yourself. And so for me, I actually I knew that my drinking was elevating. And this was a lifelong journey really for me, wondering always if my drinking was normal, knowing a lot of times it wasn't normal, but I would always blame the circumstances around me uh, for the reasons I was drinking the way I was drinking, right? If certain people, places, or things, my job, whatever, were better, then I wouldn't drink. So it did get to a point where I was like, all right, Marci, you're not happy. Something's going on. You're drinking too much. You need to get help. So I finally made the decision to go to the 12-step program. And the thing is that I went for about 3 months, but I started comparing myself to other people in the rooms, their stories, uh, and I started to say to myself, like, well, that's not like my story. I mean, I'm still productive in the community. You know, from outside, my life looked pretty darn good. I was still there for my kids. I was still living a somewhat productive life. So I convinced myself that I really was not an alcoholic because I wasn't waking up in the morning drinking. I wasn't drinking all day. Wasn't passing out every night. Uh, and these were a lot of the stories. So I had convinced myself I wasn't an alcoholic. I told my husband that I really didn't think that I had a drinking problem. And nobody was even believing that I was an alcoholic when I had gone into the rooms at first. So I was sure I wasn't. But that year, my drinking elevated to a point where everything was crashing around me. I had gotten in front of the camera. I started using, meaning acting. commercial acting, indie film acting, and just the weight of trying to pursue this career, balance my kids and my life, my family life. I started using alcohol more. I started using it as liquid courage because I was so self-conscious when I was going into these auditions, and trying to balance going into the city and coming home and being a mom full time. And it just, my drinking got worse and worse and worse. My relationship with my husband got really bad. Uh, I was praying for patience every day with my kids. I was starting to hide my drinking. Uh, and I was just had a handful of times where I was blacking out, whereas that was not something that I was doing before. The last day of drinking, I had gone on a modeling gig and I was going to be modeling clothes at one of the malls for a high-end brand. And I went to the mall and I was all ready. And I remember going up the escalator and I was like, okay, Marci, you don't need to drink. You don't need that liquid courage. You can do this on your own. And I was so proud of myself in that moment that I felt like, Marci, you can do this. Then I realized I was at the wrong mall. And now I am frantically trying to get to the other mall. And I'm driving really fast. I decide to drink the alcohol that I had brought with me to calm my nerves, thinking that would calm my nerves. And I got to the show and I did the runway show. And then I went out with my friend afterwards. She had come to watch the show and we went to lunch and I wasn't eating a lot at that time because I was drinking more of my calories. And ultimately, I ended up getting a DUI. And I went to bed that night and I was the victim. I still like wasn't accepting what I had done. I was just angry at the world. But I woke up the next morning and I knew like if I didn't make a huge change and surrender to the fact that I was an alcoholic, I was going to lose everything in my life, everything that I had built that was good. It was like a switch. Like I had gone from hating my husband and my life and feeling so sorry for myself to, oh my God, I need to get help. My husband and my family is everything to me. And I went downstairs and I sat down with my husband on the couch and I admitted to my husband I was an alcoholic. And he had two paths he could take, right? He could have taken the kids and ran away and said, I'm not dealing with you. Or he could embrace me and be there for me. And that's what he did. He embraced me and showed me love for the first time. And I went to the 12-step program and I never looked back. I was just 100% ready. And that's what it is. You've got to be 100% ready to do the work and really believe that you need the help. So that's what happened for me.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. And what a great husband to
Yeah.
be so loving and kind and just being there for you during your most vulnerable moments.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's so amazing.
It
Now,
was beautiful because
yeah.
he saw something in me that I didn't see. He saw the goodness and I just saw so much hate for myself.
Yes, unfortunately, my husband, he was an enabler. And I think I was
Uh,
sharing it before I hit record that he was buying alcohol whenever I'd ask. I'd ask,
mm,
hey, I need to drink. We need to go to the store and get it. Like
yeah.
bottles of vodka were piling in our recycle bin in our patio, or yeah, in our patio outside. And it was just piling, piling, piling. And he never thought I had an issue because he was partying with me as well.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so at
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
time, we had to split. That wasn't a healthy relationship at all. Um, yeah, that wasn't good at all. But I love
Hmm.
that you talk about you surrendered, and that was the
Yeah.
biggest thing for me. I finally had to surrender and say, okay, guys, I say God, universe, source.
Yes.
It's all the same. It's all love,
God
really,
help
what it
me.
is.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so I cannot do this by myself. And then that's
Hmm.
when all the help was there. Now, I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you what role did faith and spirituality go ahead and play for your recovery process? And how do you
Mm.
actually still continue to nurture that part of your life today?
Yeah. Let me tell you, Jesus saved me, truly. So 12-step meetings are held at a church, right? Churches all around, and there's usually like a common room where they have the meetings. And my home group was in Hohokus in New Jersey, and there was a small chapel. And I would go into this chapel after meetings, and I would sit at the front of the church, and I would pray to this small little picture of a sheep, uh, and and then Jesus was on the cross, of course, and I would just pray, God, Jesus, help me through this. You are my shepherd. I am your lamb. And if you help me through this, I will always be your lamb. You will always be my shepherd. And I will speak on how you help me through this. And I will be a conduit for your words. And that's what I have tried to remain to do. I will say it's hard sometimes because I know everybody feels so differently about it. So it's just using the words, right? Universe, divine, God, Jesus, whatever works for you. And the way that I have built on my spirituality is every morning there's a 10-minute meditation, and I still do it. I'm 9 years sober, and I still do it to this day. There's a 10-minute meditation on YouTube that I connect to God. And it's beautiful because it's not about any religion or anything like that. It's really about love. And it's, standing in the rain and feeling the love over you, right? As you're standing in this rain, like each drop of that rain is a drop of love. And then also seeing yourself in the arms of Jesus and for me. So maybe whatever for you is a representative of your higher power, like just seeing yourself in the arms of whatever that is. And so I do this every morning. I pray every morning. I gratitude is a huge, huge part of building on spirituality for yourself. Believe it or not, living in gratitude is being spiritual, saying thank you every morning for the small little things in your life that you're grateful for. And this creates a huge shift for you. And so I do this every night and every morning because whatever you're thinking about when you go to bed at night is the same that you'll be thinking about when you wake up in the morning.
Yes, that is so beautiful. And I can say the same thing. Jesus saved me. And I was going to actually have my other cup. I don't know if you can see this here. But the
Oh,
other
what does
cup
it
says,
say?
"Oh, the Lord is my strength and my song." But
Yeah.
I was going to put, "What would Jesus do?" I was going to use that cup. But I switched to this cup, but for my coffee because I was having my morning
Yeah.
coffee. I'm in the Pacific Standard Time, so it's like my morning coffee time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And but it is so true and it's so beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing that. And I have experienced almost the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm just going to share a
Beautiful.
little story with you. During like the dark times of my drinking, I was with my husband at the time, and my mom's coworker invited us to go to church. And she said, I'm like, well, why not? Let's just go ahead and go to church. Oh, I think I lost you. I think I lost you. Ladies and gentlemen, she will be coming back pretty soon here. So hold on tight. There she is.
Ah, odd.
No,
Sorry about that.
no worries. Nope, no
Okay.
problem.
So Telling
that
your
was
story.
oh yes. So when I was in the midst of my drinking and it was really bad. It was I was drinking a fifth of vodka a day in order for me to function. Mine was this in the
Hmm.
severe category where I needed to be
Hmm.
medically detoxed in order for me to get better.
Hmm.
Well, my husband and I were invited from my mom's coworker to go to church. So we went to the church. And of course, I had to drink alcohol before I went in. You know,
Yeah,
that's, I mean,
yeah,
that's what I had to do in order for me to be like,
yeah.
okay, I'm going to just try this church thing out. Well, I went in there with my mom
Hmm.
was, she came with us too. And I was crying. I don't know what,
Mm,
okay, the Holy Spirit must have come over me or something because I was
yes.
just like, I knew I had to repent. Like, I just felt
Hmm.
like I had to shed off whatever was going on. All of like, I'm getting goosebumps while I'm saying this all of the evilness that was trying to possess me, Liz, I was literally becoming possessed. And I shared that in other podcasts too,
Yeah,
where I was just full in prayer. And that was
yeah.
in 2013 or 2012.
Uh-huh.
And I knew I'm like, okay, well, something I have to start going to church. And so I was going here and there. And then this is when I started then praying and becoming more spiritual and wanted to learn more about God. And so I remember after in 2017 when I decided to, that's it, no more alcohol, I started going to church. And then I was going to Bible study. I met incredible women. I was serving
Yeah.
the community. And I
Hmm.
really think the act of service brought so much joy in my
Mm,
life that
hmm.
I was like, this is what I need to be doing. I need to die to my old self.
Yeah.
I have my ego self. I mean, ego is good
Hmm.
because it's there to protect you, but I was too much in my ego. Like I had too much in
Yeah.
my ego. And I
Yeah.
needed surrender and I wanted to help others. And so I really found so much joy in that. So just Jesus saves. Yes.
Jesus saves, and it is all about service. It literally changes your life, and doing for others is really the biggest gift you can give yourself. I
Yes.
believe that wholeheartedly. I mean, it changed my life too.
It's so amazing. Now let's talk a little bit about your book, Chaos to
Hmm.
Clarity, which offers like so much, and it's like a roadmap to recovery, I would want to say,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what led you to go
Yeah.
ahead and write it, and how did the process of writing help you in your own healing?
Oh, so many nudges, many people asking me when I was going to write my story. And I have a beautiful God moment. So it was the final nudge to write my book. And I went out on my deck and I looked up and I said, okay, God, I'm going to write this book. It was just like I finally, another surrendering moment. Okay, I'm going to do it. Because of course it's very overwhelming, like to even think, here I go from a mother that's just trying to get through the day with my kids and life to now I've started this talk show and now I'm going to write a book. Like, who am I? And so I looked up, and right when I said the words, a rainbow appeared. Two dove flew past me that sat on the top of my roof, and a dragonfly flew by me. Which a dragonfly, which you can see here, I'm wearing, very much a big part of my story. It was like the biggest God moment I'd had in my the beginning of my healing journey. And I just I knew in that moment I had to do it. And my book is called Chaos to Clarity: Seeing the Signs and Breaking the Cycles. So seeing the signs, yes, I talk about seeing the signs of struggle in your own life, but so much of it is about seeing the signs from the other side and the guidance from the other side. These small little miracles, like when I first started my healing journey and I saw hundreds of dragonflies floating around me. And it was the one and only time it ever happened in my backyard. Like, that's a God moment, the moment that I decided to write my book. So once I decided to write my book, now it was like the universe was bringing all these different ways to help me on my path of writing my book. So if you open up the opportunity in anything in life and things start coming into your existence to help you on this path, that is meant to happen for you. So just keep notice of that. And how did this help me? Like, it was hard, believe me. I mean, I always say just write down your stories as they come. Don't keep them in your head. For me, it wasn't like sitting down and writing on this day, this happened. It was just like kind of writing down and these stories and then later on putting the pieces of the puzzle together. I also suggest that if you do want to write a book, there's so much help out there for people that have written books and they can help you to put it down on paper in the best way possible to get your story out there. And this helped me to move from a place of this girl stuck in this victimhood and these things that I was still living in, like still living in these stories and these things that happened to me, to a place of, yes, this happened to me, but it doesn't define me. I don't have to feel the emotions of it anymore. I don't have to cry over these things anymore. I don't have to feel sorry for myself anymore. It helped me to forgive the things, the people, the circumstances that happened, not condoning it, but forgiving it. So I could take my power back. So it really is a true release and a cathartic process to help you heal. And we need to let the things go that happened in our past for us to be able to move forward. So it's really an incredible journey, not an easy one, but it is an incredible journey.
That's beautiful. Now, you
Yeah.
talk about harmful patterns and cycles in your book.
Mhm.
What advice would you go ahead and give to someone who is just beginning to recognize these patterns in their own life?
Mm. Well, first, I'd say that acknowledging what is happening is a huge step. Uh, Acknowledging the fact that you need help. Then there's that surrender, surrendering to the fact that you need help, asking for that help, knowing that there are people around you that want to help you. You are not alone. There are so many people that love you that want to help you. And then once you start moving forward, you will see there's so many uh, resources that can help you on your path. So maybe for you, it was going into rehab. For me, it was the 12-step program. For others now, I mean, one of the greatest things that happened in COVID is that there were all of these people that started coming forward and sharing their recovery out loud. And so it's created so many communities. There's now online meetings. So if you're not comfortable in going to a 12-step meeting and showing your face, you can go online, keep your camera off, just see if that's something that works for you. And this is with anything. There's so many Facebook groups or communities. Just go online, Google the help available for whatever it is that you are trying to move forward from. Eating disorder, working out excessively, if it's gambling, if it's being on your phone and escaping in your phone, like there, smoking, drinking, whatever it is, there's so many ways that you can get help. Maybe it's just going to a therapist. Maybe it's just going to your church and talking to someone there that can guide you. It's just taking those steps forward to start getting the help for yourself. And it's hard. I mean, it's not an easy path, but it's one that is so, so rewarding. And you'll know when you're ready to surrender and really get the help. But I, I don't know if you agree with me, but you need to want it to make the change for yourself. And then you must take the action to do it.
The key word is action for sure.
Hmm. Yeah.
I mean, because we
Yeah.
can buy so many, we call them shelf help books and they just stay
Yeah.
on there. We got to
Yeah.
implement the actions that's in the book that we're
You
reading. Let's
have to.
take
Yeah.
action. And
You
that's
can
what,
take notes all day long
yeah,
and fill your head with all this stuff, but you have to take the action to make the change.
absolutely. Oh, Now breaking generational cycles,
Yeah.
just like generational trauma, is
Yeah.
actually a theme also in your book. What
Hmm.
does breaking those cycles look like, and how can people begin to heal?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, like for me, getting sober, both of my parents were alcoholics. So, right there, breaking a generational cycle of alcoholism in my family that runs rampant in my family, and now teaching my children that it's possible to move forward and I don't have to show them that path, that alcoholism or alcohol is an answer to anything. And listen, I mean, they're experimenting. They're 18, 21. But what I try to do is truly educate my kids on alcohol, what it does, how it can inhibit you from making good decisions, how bad things can happen to you if you are drinking, what signs to look for. I think a lot of times we don't really teach our children. We just say, don't drink, or you're not supposed to drink at this age, or we don't really teach them the life lessons around drinking, what happens to your body, understanding like taking shots, like how that makes you drunk. They may see 5 shots as being like, taking a couple wine coolers. Well, there's nothing the same. It's not the same, right? And how, oh well, I feel a buzz, right? So because I used to like want to maintain that buzz. So I just kept drinking and drinking, drinking, and that would just take me to a blackout. So explaining those things, right? And my parents showed me, like my mother, if there was a problem, you took a pill or you drank. Like, so I don't have to show that to my children anymore. And finding your voice, setting your boundaries, how to love yourself. These are all things that I was never taught. And I wasn't taught that because my family didn't know how to do that for themselves. So it's just breaking down all of those negative things that happened in my family and not passing it on to my children. And a lot of times we'll hear people say, well, my dad did this or my mom did this and this is what I'm going to do because that's what happened for me or to me. But I'd counter that. Did did that help you? Does it make you feel good? Did it make you feel good? Has it helped you to be the best person that you can be? Just because your parents did that doesn't mean that it's the best way to raise your children or enforce upon your children. So just to really think about that, like just because our parents did it doesn't mean it's the best way. These are things, beliefs are, we're our belief system, our morals, like we're programmed by the things we're taught by our parents. We mirror the things that we saw. And I would just ask you, did those things really make you happy and bring you to be the best person that you are today? Are you the best person you could be? Because with you doing the exact same things that your parents did or your caregivers did, you're passing that on generationally. So just think about that.
Right. I remember I didn't like getting spanked.
Mm-mm.
As a child, I was getting the chancla, I was getting the belt, I was getting the hanger. I was getting
Yeah,
it
and
all.
and did you really learn? You didn't learn. You were just afraid,
Fear took over.
right? I mean, fear, when we are fearful, we say, oh, well, it's respect. We can have respect without inducing fear
Hmm.
because fear, there's nothing that we are learning from fear. And then we are fearful with everyone else, everything else. We can't shine and, like you say, shine in everything, right? We can't shine. We can't find our voice. We don't know how to speak up for ourselves. Maybe we just become reactive. Maybe we're just screaming and yelling, and that was in our house, but that's not communicating. So it's just ways of thinking like you we want to raise the best kids we can, but we maybe don't have the best tools to do that. So it's just recognizing the things in ourselves that maybe we could change to be better for ourselves and then be better for the next generation. So it's a
Yes.
hard thing to look at yourself, but we have to change the things about ourselves so we don't do that to our kids.
I love that. Yes, self-examination is
Not
crucial.
easy.
It's crucial, but not easy. It reminds me of the
Exactly.
never-ending story when, what was the name? Sebastian had a look inside the mirror, or was it a trio had a look inside the mirror, and Sebastian saw the reflection of him, and they were
Yeah.
it's like self-examination. This is me? What? This is me?
Yeah.
How does he know
Yeah.
this is me? It's because you're
Yeah.
reflecting yourself and you're
And
projecting that
sometimes
whatever
we
you
don't want to be around people because they are a reflection of ourselves, and we turn against them because we're so afraid because they're making you look at something inside yourself. So think about that too.
Yes, the journey inward is so much more important than the journey outward. That's why my
Yes.
podcast is called Shine Within, because once we
Yeah.
shine within, we
Yeah.
shine without, and it's a ripple effect.
Yes.
Everyone
It,
else
it it
shines.
does. It all starts within. You are 100% right.
Yes. Oh, that's why one of the Bible verses that I love, God is within her, she will not fall, or also some of the other versions, she will not fail. And
Hmm.
I just love that one so much. And that's why I always like, God is within you. The kingdom of
Yeah.
God is within you. And then that's why I created my title. Like, that means shine within. I'm going to make a
I love
podcast
Shine
like
Within.
that.
It's a beautiful title,
Yeah,
right?
thank
And you
you.
can think about that like shine in everything. Shine
Yes,
within makes you shine with everything, right? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So, Marcy, what would you say to someone who feels hopeless or even stuck in the
Mm,
chaos of addiction and doesn't actually see a way out?
yeah. Well, first of all, I want you to know I've been there. It's very, very fearful. You think you're alone. You think you're never going to get out of it. How can you live life without alcohol? Been there, been there. Um, my hope for you is that it doesn't have to come to the rock bottom for you, but I want you to know that you are not alone. You have this strength within you to get sober, and don't try to do it alone. Start to talk out loud that you need help. And there will be people around you that can start guiding you. But again, you have to make the realization for yourself that you need help. You have to surrender to the fact that you need help. I want you to know you're not alone. We are a vision of sobriety. This could be you. Just make the hard decision to put the drink down, because I promise you it's not the answer. You have so much light inside of you, and it's time to break down those barriers that you've built up around you and stop masking it with that alcohol or whatever it is that you're masking that pain with. Start to heal, start to give yourself that gift, and just start by asking.
When you ask for help, you will see you will get the help that you need. And
100%. And
I,
and ask God first.
yes, yes. And then just continue asking God for help, and you'll see all these miracles happen, like those dragonflies around you. I believe all of it. Like I see little everything is a miracle, like synchronicities. I had one time my son, he's 16, he's fearful of wasps, by the way, and bees, but he created them in his room. I'm like, where'd they come from? They're like on the walls, just calm, not aggressive at all. And I'm like, he's like, oh, I was thinking about wasps coming inside the room again, like that one wasp that came in the other day. Well, you just create about 10 or 20 of them on your wall. Magic happens, and trust me, you are magical. Uh, I'm speaking to the listeners out there. You are all magical, and of course, you too, Marcy. Not forgetting you. But yes, just go within and ask for help. Like Marcy said, she is so right. Go within, ask for help, God, source, universe, whatever the God of your understanding. For me, it's Jesus. For you can be anything else, but just please ask for help. So if you can actually go back in time, Marci, and speak to your younger self at the height of your struggles, what would you say to her? Oh, I can't. I think I lost you. I can't hear you. Let me try. Can you hear me? You can hear me. I can't hear you for some reason. We can just take off the headpiece. It's fine. We will be back once again. This is what happens. This is signs that, the Lord is saying, yes, I hear you. I hear you. There we go.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
So when I take my earbuds out, it turns off the Zoom. So I'm
That's
so
so
sorry. You're
neat.
gonna have to
Oh,
edit these things.
oh no, that's okay. That's what editing's for. It's all
Yeah.
good. But this YouTube channel of mine is just like a library, so it's going to be raw as it is. I just like it like
Okay.
that anyway. It's just
Okay.
fun. I have kids
Awesome.
coming in here in the background sometimes. I have two
Yeah.
younger ones, a 9 and 10-year-old as well. And during the summertime, they'll come in and be like, "Hey, mom, how's it going?" So
I
it's
know.
all good.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm sorry about that.
But I can go ahead and I'll just go ahead and ask the question. Or did you remember, were you able to hear me when I asked that question?
So, oh my God, these things, my ear.
You can just take them out. That's totally fine. You can take them out because I lost you. Now I can't hear you. Not yet. No. It's okay if it exits again. It's totally fine. This is why I love having the raw footage here. It's just fun. Being, it's just fun. I have fun with everything. Okay.
This, oh my gosh, this is crazy.
It's just it's fun. I was like, this is fun. Because I love
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear you now.
Oh no. Let me see. Testing 1 2. Can you hear? Okay, I'll be right back. Let's see. Audio testing. Mic is on. Mm. Can you hear me? You can hear me? That's so weird. Okay, let me just. How about now? I'm just using my computer microphone. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm using my
Yes,
computer microphone. Yeah.
you can hear me.
Yeah.
This has never happened before. I am so sorry.
You know what? It's just the divine having fun with us. Like, let's just have fun with these two.
I know. Am I clear? Because I barely hear you. Okay.
Oh, you can, okay, but you can barely hear me? Okay. You can hear me though, a little bit?
A little bit, a little bit.
Okay.
So, all right, you had asked me what would I tell my younger self.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So my younger self, I'm just gonna give you a little backstory where I'm gonna start with that because there are many times in my younger years that I could go back and save that little girl.
But where I'm going to go back is at 12 years old. My mother had remarried. I thought this gentleman would be, not gentleman, he was not a gentleman. This man would be our knight in shining armor, that I would finally get the family that I always wanted. 6 months into the relationship, I'm 12 years old, and sexual abuse started for me. Now, I lost myself during that time. I wanted to commit suicide. Everything in my life was falling apart. So I'm going to go back to that 12-year-old self that wanted to only have a beautiful life filled with love. That I would get through that while I would have trials and tribulations, things in my life. These are going to be places that you will grow. You will find your inner strength. And later in life, you will find the love that you have always been looking for in life. And you will have your happily ever after.
That's very touching. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You bet.
Wow. Now, where can our listeners go ahead and check out your show, get your
Yeah.
book, even just connect with you if they have any questions?
Yeah, first of all, please connect with me at wakeupwithmarci@gmail.com. I have free giveaways that I can offer your audience for steps towards self-love, what I learned in the 12-step program, just to understand, kind of give a guide. What will I get out of the 12-step program? Because I think it's really important. It's not just the quitting drinking. I just want to say that it's what you learn through those 12 steps. And that is where the ultimate healing happens. So please find me at wakeupwithmarci.com. You can find out where to see my show. It's on YouTube. Hopefully it's in your area. Please send me an email there, wakeupwithmarci@gmail.com. And really to connect with me anywhere at Wake Up with Marci, and that's Marci with an I. And I just so welcome your listeners to please reach out. And may my book and my truth be a guide for you and support you in anything that you're going through. I always say that my book is about healing from your past and your trauma and recovery. But the biggest gift that you can give yourself, no matter where you are in this life, is rewiring the way that you think, shifting your mindset, changing the narrative in your head, becoming the confident, beautiful soul that you are. And hopefully through the resources, the tools, the education that I share on how I did it will help you to do the same.
Yes, amen, Sister Marci. I love having you on my show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights and wisdom and just giving hope to the listeners. I truly appreciate you.
Thank you. And thank you for all that you're doing and sharing your story. It's truly beautiful. And I mean, your podcast is awesome.
Thank you so much.